you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
See, if anything can go wrong, it will. Everything went wrong at the launch of tonight's show, and so I apologize for that. You know, I got to fire some staff or something. And so I guess I've been mute the whole time. So everything I've said you've missed. So that's probably good because I was doing a lot of swearing. So anyway, we got a little less than a 1 minute late start tonight, and I didn't get all the buttons pushed. So my apologies. We still were on mute while I was explaining all of that. So I want to thank you all for being here, by the way. Thanks for being here. For this, I'm Scotty Roberts, by the way, if you don't know that. This is my program, the Intrepid radio program, right here on Odyssey Radio, at least for tonight. Let's find out. I think we're broadcasting over there. Somebody wants to go over to Odyssey Radio and just make sure, because I don't see any messages coming in from anywhere, unless that was Dave Potter. That's what he was trying to tell me. But he was calling, and somebody was trying to get a hold of me. Yeah, there we're fixed, Matthew Sainsbury. So sorry, everybody, for the panic and the sweat and all of that stuff.
It was Uncle Dave calling to tell you to take your mute off.
Oh, it was Uncle Dave calling to tell me to take the mute off. Hey, Uncle Dave, you know what? I generally don't pick up calls of any kind during the show. So I'm glad I looked. And Ellie was on the phone. He called Ellie. So there you go. And so shit happens, folks. My shit happened tonight, and all of it all at once. Not only did I push I actually pushed the button to record first. Then I came in and I launched the show, then realized I didn't push the button to be up on the stream for the radio show. So, and then after that, I find out a couple minutes in, you can't hear me because I'm still on mute. So, professional apologies. Let's move on because we're here now. And so just chalk that up to shit happens. Yes, your broadcasting on Odyssey was a few seconds behind, said Field Guy. Yeah, I think I was about 4 minutes behind over there, brother. So I didn't get the right button pushed. So, but we're here now. We're here now. All is calm. All is well. What was I going to do? I was going to get something to drink, and I was going to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And I look up and I'm already late. So here, I'll just drink what I have. Tumblers by Rainey's formerly Mersquatch Tumblers, which the name was just too hard. Nobody could remember it. Nobody could spell it. And so Rainey couldn't figure out how to keep spelling it right. So we just changed it to her. You know, she's got her 2 Loons massage. So she's now 2 Loons, numeral 2 Loons Tumblers. Yeah, that's where you can go, .com. But these are the ones she did for the school here. And a bunch of them for parents at the school. And then we just put the different sports that the kids do on there. And we put their names at the bottom. And she's been doing a whole ton of those. So that's kind of nice for the school district. It's not for the school district. It's outside the school district. It's for just parents. So, hey, Max, how you doing? Good to see you over in the chat room. And good to see you as well. And Dave Potter, good to see you too. Rowan did very well. I don't remember the number of games they won or matches they won, but she did fabulous. Watching her, Rowan is about as athletic of my children as they come. And she was serving. She's one of only 2 people in the 4th grade that can serve overhanded because she does a fantastic job. Here, you can tell us about it. There she is. There's my little athlete.
About what?
Oh, about your game. You're serving. We were just talking about your games. Uncle Dave wanted to know if you won.
I won, like, maybe.
You're always so loud and forceful until I ask you a question. Then it's like, oh, I have to keep my demure facade going.
We won.
You won. Okay.
No, we didn't win. I think we won 1 or 2 against Amory.
All right.
I think we won all the ones with Osceola.
All right. Fantastic.
And then I think we won 2 out of 3 with River Falls.
Fantastic. So there you go. So they won some matches. And she's a fantastic server. And yeah, she's got another, what do you call volleyball meet? A volleyball tournament on Saturday. Tournament or just games?
Games. Tournament.
Okay.
Practice.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, there you go, Uncle Dave. There's the latest. And for all of you listening out there, we're in Somerset, Wisconsin. So if you're anywhere near there, that'll make a difference for you. So let's see. I want to just kind of, because we ran a couple of minutes late at the beginning tonight, and because my staff just let me down, and you're not my staff. But she does think she's the boss of me, so that makes me her staff.
Because she is.
I'll be your staff. Ew, ew.
Kids in the room.
What's with this? Staff is a serving people. They clean things.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Staff. I'll be Rainey's kitchen staff. I'll do the vacuuming, and I'll trim the bushes, and I'll do all that stuff. So it's what I do. It's what I do. All right. So tonight, though, I wanted to talk about something that's kind of fun. It pertains to some of what I do for a living, but I think it's going to be fun for you, too. We've got a lot of parents that listen to this show. We've also got a lot of people who've been parents in the past. So I think you might get a little bit of a kick out of this show. And that is, there is a, let's see, where's my stuff on it? Hold on. I got notes. Trust me. I got notes. There they are. And it's all about storytelling. You know, I see a lot of these book sites that are book sites for kids, and it's really for kids authors, kids illustrators, all these people, and everybody out there who is not generally, you wouldn't look at them and say, well, that person's got a reputation for being a published author. They all want to publish a book, and they've all got a book in them. They all know what they want to say, but they're all asking questions of each other. I don't know what cause I should write my book about. Should it be about, how to help your daughter when she first starts menstruating? Should it be about autism? Should it be about bullying in schools? Should it be about this? Should it be about that? And I remember I was in those groups and I was reading some of those, and I said, why don't you just write a story for kids? Kids don't always need to pick up books for kids that are about causes. They get enough causes in life. Look at the political situation we live in nowadays. There's enough causes to go around. So why not take kids to a place where kids ought to be taken? Take them to fun places with books. I said in this group, just dispense with the cause. Why not just do a great story? And I said, well, what kind of stories should we write? We don't know what to write. And if you don't know what to write, I said, if you don't have a story in you, you should go do something else. If you're a writer and a storyteller, you can't hold back the stories. Look at like Dave Potter. If you sat here with us for 2.5 hours the other night after the show, the post show on Friday, The Captain's Cabin, that went on for about 2.5 hours. Look at the stories. Dave and I could have gone all night just telling stories. He's a storyteller. This is what storytellers do. And they make shit up. They tell stories. They tell them to adults. They tell them to kids. And I was saying to all these people that were in there trying to figure out what kind of book to write, I said, take a story that's in your head or in your heart, something you've thought about, and develop that. And I said one thing, and this is what came up in those conversations, and I may have talked about this once before on this show a couple of years ago, but I talked about, you know what kids need? Kids need good horror stories. Kids need horror stories and scary stories. And there's a reason for it. And I think hopefully after tonight, after we talk about this for a little bit, you're going to agree with me. Kids don't just need stories. Kids need great stories. They need scary stories. They need the kind of stories that are going to scare the buh-jeebies out of them. And it's going to teach them. We need to teach them to love those kinds of stories. How many of your kids out there, or how many of you when you were kids, I don't know why I keep freezing. You talking to me, Dave? I have no idea. It's my internet. Our internet sucks out here. That's all. It's plain and simple. As I've mentioned before, the only internet we can get out here is through one company that holds the monopoly out here. And because they have the monopoly, they have no motivation to do anything better. So because they're the only place you can go, unless you spend $1,000 hooking up a dish of some kind. So for freezing up, sorry about that. I have no idea why. It's not me. It's not this computer. It's not the broadcast. It has to do with the internet end of things, which I sadly have very little control over, if any at all. So looking at this, I kind of lost my place because I saw Dave ask that question. Why horror is good for you and even better for your kids is what I want to talk about tonight. And one of the core reasons that I like to write books, that I like to tell stories, is because they engage me. They make me happy to tell them. Happy seems like a trite word or a small word when you put it into a reason why you do something like this. I do it because it makes me happy. Love to tell a story, and I love to tell stories to people. And I have kids. You remember my first book ever published was The Rollicking Adventures of Tam O'Hare, if you don't count comic books. And some of you have that book. I know Leslie does, and some of you out there have that book. Some of you in the radio audience have that book. Some of you in the chat room have it. And I wrote that because I used to tell the stories to my little kids. I started doing that when their mom was in alcohol treatment, and we were getting a divorce. She was out of the home for about 6 months, and I spent the extra time with my daughters to help them do things, to help them get through things, cope with things. We made up stories. That's where Tam O'Hare came from. And eventually one day we sat down on the living room floor and took a bunch of markers and started drawing pictures of what Tam O'Hare would have looked like. And the next day I did a painting for the kids to hang in their room. And that is the cover of The Rollicking Adventures of Tam O'Hare, which I don't have a copy handy. I did have. Oh, I see it. Hold on. I'm going to swing back from my radio here, or my microphone. So this was, and this is a small version. This was the very first version of this, of the book that came out, the very first edition. My music all just popped on. I don't think you can hear that for some reason, but that was the painting I did for the kids. And then that ended up adorning the front cover of the book. And so it built off of telling stories. I wanted to tell these stories. And so I think stories are good for kids, but specifically, I wanted to talk tonight about horror stories, because I think horror is good for kids. There are some people out there that think, oh, horror, you can't expose kids to scary stories. You can't scare our kids. You got to talk to them about bullying and their first boo-boo and their first Band-Aid and how to eat their food without spilling it on themselves and how to not, look, I made poo-poo. Kids don't need to always read those kinds of books. Kids need to read books that at the core can scare them. And I was saying I was always compelled to do this. I read comic books when I was a kid. And I made comic books when I was an adult. And you know what? Nowadays, comic books aren't what they used to be. The whole Marvel DC thing has changed a bit. It's not so much for kids anymore. But I came to understand that there was a pattern in all of the comics being made, the books being written, that was leading me to a more clearly defined ethos when I both had kids of my own and when I came to find that the comics industry had, for the most part, decided not to make books for kids anymore. Instead, they wanted to tailor them to their brightly colored undies on the outside superhero books to old men, nostalgic for big boobs, their long past childhood, and then for the children that they were intended to inspire. It's kind of insane, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with adult comics. And by adult, I don't mean X-rated. I mean comics written for adults. It's a fun medium to get into. But this generation, for me, as I was getting into my 20s and up toward my 30s, the generation hadn't only stolen the medium away from its following generations, it had helped foster one of the greatest publishing faceplants in American history. It killed its own future by ignoring the basic need to grow a new crop of readers. And so they made certain it had no future at all until the movies came along. And one thing no one was going to go near was horror stories for kids. Back in the days when I was doing comic books, Ronald Reagan was the president. And we went from Reagan to Bush and then Bush to Clinton. And we hadn't yet learned about the wonderful effects of anthrax-laced letters, the Washington, D.C. snipers, and everyone losing their jobs. We didn't know what the effects that those things would have on us. And to be perfectly honest, I think I, like many others, existed in this continual state of fear from the age of 5 all the way up to last week sometime. It's time to scare the hell out of our kids. Let's pass it on to a new generation. Teach them to love it. And here's why this is not as crazy as that sounds. Reason number 1, childhood is a scary place. Do you remember Maurice Sendak? He did Where the Wild Things Are. I remember that book from when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. It was probably pretty close to brand new at that time. Can't remember what year that was published. But I love him as a contributor to the lore of children's literature, as well as a dangerous and wily critic of the medium. Now, he's passed on now, but he had especially in his grouchy later years. But he once encountered a happy interviewer by demanding she understand, or he countered, not encountered, demanding that she understand that childhood was not a skip hop through a candy cane field of butterflies and sharing and sunshine, that it was in fact a terrifying ordeal. And he felt compelled to help kids survive it. Kids live in a world of insane giants already. Nothing's the right size. The doorknobs are too high. The chairs are too big. They have little agency of their own. They're barely given the power to even choose their own clothes until they get to a certain age. Though no real power can ever be given anyway. Maybe privilege is the right term. But aside from the legitimate fears of every generation, kids today are enjoying seeing these madhouse giants lose their jobs, blow themselves up using the same planes they ride to visit grandma, catastrophically ruin their own ecosystem, ushering in a new era of unknown tectonic change, loss of their grandkids we'll get to enjoy in full. The insane giants in their lives did to the world what they did to comics. They didn't grow a future, but instead they ate it for dinner. Now, it's a spooky time to be a kid, even without Sandy Hook making this ever once fortified classroom a potential doomsday ride. Look, kids are already scared, is the point I'm trying to make. So let's give them some tools to cope with it, beyond telling them not to worry about it at all. Remember the other night I read to you the story of the ghost of Nicholas Grebe. For a child, that's not an adult, that's not a very scary story. You might not look at the ghost of Nicholas and Grebe and say, that was a terrifying story. It wasn't. It was a story about ghosts. And but what was my kids liked about it was that I made a scary story kind of fun and funny. And so this is what we do. We have to give them the tools to cope with life as it is, with telling them they don't have to worry about it all. And so when they really have every right to be scared shitless, it's little kids. Scary stories tell kids that there's always something worse, and in effect come across as more honest because they exist in a realm already familiar to them. Scary tales don't warp kids. They give them a place to blow off steam while they're being warped by everything else. Now, maybe that seems like a bad reason all by itself. That's just reason number one out of 10 reasons. Remember when I told you I read that book to the kids, A Monster Calls? There were some scary parts in that book for kids. You know why? It latches into your imagination, makes things a little scary. Reason number two, it's power to the powerless. The basic thing that horror does for all of us is it's almost like an ancient talent, the favorite system of crowd control invented by ancient Greeks, catharsis. Who doesn't walk out of a movie that just scared the pants off of them and mercifully comforted by the mundane walk to and through the parking lot and the world outside? For kids, this is even more acute. If we take it further and make children both the object of terror in these stories, as well as the agents for surviving the monsters, well, now you're getting into something, and that's something magical for kids. Plainly put, horror provides a playground in which kids can dance with their fears in a safe way that can teach them how to survive monsters and be powerful too. Horror for kids leads them not only to read or see these terrible beasts, but also see themselves in the stories as protagonists. The hero's victory is their victory. The beast is whomever they find beastly in their own lives. A kid finishing a scary book or a movie can walk away having met the monster and survived, ready and better armed against the next villain that'll be coming. This is what a good horror story, scary story, does for a kid. Number three, horror is ancient and it's real and it can teach us a lot. In the old days, fairy tales and stories for kids were designed for what reason? To teach them to avoid places of danger, strangers, weird old ladies living in candy-covered houses. That was my big fear. And they were cautionary tales for generations of kids who faced death, real and tangible, almost each and every day. Think of medieval life and what it was like when some of these stories originated in their embryonic form. There was a real and preventative purpose to all of these stories. Stay alive and watch out for the myriad of real-world threats that haunt your every step. Now, these stories, of course, were terrifying, but these were also children that grew up in a time where of every 6 kids born, 2 or 3 would survive to adulthood, and that was it. So go and read some of the original Oz books by Frank L. Baum and tell me they're not freakishly weird and threatening. I'm talking about the original stories, not the watered-down, pretty musical in the movies. It's a classic that we all remember from being kids, but the original books that he wrote. It was a weird, threatening world. The Brothers Grimm sought to warn kids in the most horrifying way they could, so much so that these types of tales have all but vanished from children's lit because these days they are deemed too frightening and dark for them. But they're also now more anecdotal than they were then. They mean less because the world around them grew and changed and they remained as they had always been. They became less relevant, however fantastic and crazy pants they are. So the Brothers Grimm, by the way, you read some of their original stories, the stories that we think of as Grimm's fairy tales. And, what were they, like Hansel and Gretel and stories like that. The stories we're all familiar with. But you look at the original stories, they were pretty damn dark. So, hey, people coming in. Mike Yehudi coming into the chat room. Michelle Kenham Free. It showed me as offline. Oh, at the beginning of the show, I was offline. I came in a minute late, and then it took me about 3 more minutes to get going. So, to get everything up and working. So, I'm glad you're here. So, horror touches on something that's really deep within all of us. It's right down to our fight or flight responses. Not everything, this is what I'm getting at for those maybe coming in a little later, is that stories for kids need to be scary sometimes. They don't have to be life reaffirming and, the Dalai Lama incarnate in my words, or stories about, not being bullied at school or coping with divorce or kids. That's real life stuff for kids. You teach them how to cope with real life by presenting them fictional horror, fictional scariness. And this piques their brains. And we're going through all the points on this. We're on point 3 right now. Horror touches something deep within us all. It's right down to our fight or flight. We've developed as a species from an evolutionary necessity to be afraid of threats. So we might flee them and survive to make more babies that can grow up and suitably be afraid of threats. And that can also grow up and repeat the cycle. We exist today because of these smart apes, and they deserve our thanks for learning that lesson. And as a result, like almost all pop culture, horror lit can reflect literature, by the way, if you wonder what I meant by lit, can reflect in a unique way the extremely scary difficulties of being a child in a certain time. And it touches on something we all feel and that we're all familiar with. And as such, it can reveal this deeper understanding of ourselves as we go through that arc of being scared, then relieved, and then scared again. The thrill's an ancient one. It's a roller coaster. And when we feel it, we're connecting with something very old and very powerful within us. Whether it's a roller coaster, a steep water slide, watching Harry Potter choke down a golden snitch as he falls 30 stories from his witch's broom, small kids, that scared them. And so there's a universality in vicarious thrill seeking, danger hunting. It is us touching they who began the cycle 40,000 years ago. So there's a 4th point here out of these 10 that we've reached. Number 4, horror confirms secret truths. When grown-ups tell you everything's going to be fine, there's nothing to be worried about, but they're lying. That's what the doctor says. The doctor of the young, mortified Amy Pond. She replies, rolling her 10-year-old eyes dramatically. The doctor leans in, a wink in his eye, and intimates everything's going to be fine. And then they turn to face the monster living in her wall, with a screwdriver in one hand and a half-eaten apple in the other. And so in doing this, Moffat touches brilliantly upon another essential truth of horror, that it shows us guardians and guides that will be more honest with us than even our own parents. That's scary right there. Within the darkness and the shadows is a guide who can lead us out and back into the light. But you can only find him there in the darkness when you need him most. Remember the book we read, The Dark, on here last week sometime. Might have been the week before, I don't remember. But the dark, we're all afraid of the dark at some point. If you think back and go, I was never afraid of the dark, you're probably lying, or lying to yourself. There was some point where we were all afraid of the dark because it was the unknown. We didn't know it was there. Didn't have anybody like a parent to hold our hand. And many of us came out of that through various stages. Some of us still are afraid of the dark. I'm not. I can be startled by things in the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark itself anymore, though. Kids are aware of so much more that's happening in their house than we as parents even want to imagine. Rainey and I experience that from our kids all the time. Always coming up and telling us, and Rowan comes up and tells us things are happening. And all the kids do that to some extent. And it's like they starting to become used to it. And they surprise us sometimes. We find ourselves going, oh, it's probably just the washer was unstable and it was thumping or something. We find a reason for it. Mostly because our instinct is to help them not be afraid. But more than that, a lot, we try to talk with them about, well, what are you hearing? What's the thing? Maybe it is a ghost. What do we do about that? But because we don't share all the details of our anxious whispers, our stressful phone calls, our hushed arguments. Even tonight, Rainey and I were having a little conversation, and she said something to me, and I responded, and she said, shh, the kids are here. We don't want them to hear that because they'll spread that. And so we have to be careful about that stuff. There's all these things that we have to do. They're left to fill in the facts themselves, kids are. And what one imagines tends to be far more terrible than what's real. It's like the 10 of Swords card in tarot. It's that fear of the unknown is what drives us into anxiety sometimes. And many times when we come to the end, we find out it wasn't half as bad as we thought it was going to be in our minds. So kids can tell what hastened whispers in the hall mean outside their door. And they think they do. And what they don't know for a fact, they fill in with their own versions of fictions. Storytellers dabbling in horror provide them with an honest broker who doesn't shy away from the fact of werewolves or face-eating aliens. They want to put their insect babies in our stomachs. They look you straight into their eyes and whisper delightfully, everything's going to be fine. And the mere fact of telling these tales proves a willingness to join in with kids in their nightmares, bring them to life, and then subvert and vanquish those things. Children love you for this because you're sharing a secret with them that they don't yet realize everyone else also knows. This is fun. And the end result for me was really a great trust and a sense of trust in scary movies that I never got from my parents, who tried to comfort me by telling me ghosts weren't real. Horror told me they were, but it also taught me how to face them. Now, we could go ghost hunting and we could wear big crosses around our necks and rings of garlic and carry wooden stakes and a mallet. Those are the things I learned to do to fight my fears. So we deny this to our kids, the full measure of what we experience and suffer as adults, but they aren't idiots and they know something's going on. And what we're really doing by accident is robbing them of the trust that they can survive and that we understand this and that we can help them do it. So where we as adults can't tell them a half-truth, horror can tell them the whole bloody truth. And there's great mercy in that to a certain extent. So I'm going to move on to point 5. I got 10 points. We won't get through them all tonight. I'm not even going to try, but I'm looking at the clock and having started a few minutes late, we've got right now, we still end at the same time. So we'll do that. But we got about 12 minutes left. And so I just wanted to see what some of you were saying over there. It's always tough fighting horrors, says Iowa X. Well, there's that. That's a horror story all by itself. So, Dave Potter, one of the first games we play with babies is to pop out from behind our hands or a pillow to give them a quick fright and then a giggle. Boo! We all do that with kids. Sean Stroika's here. He's come to talk with us again in the chat room. Good to see you, Sean. And so, reason 5, sharing scary stories brings people together. Campfires. Oh, let's gather around the campfire. Let's have some s'mores and some hot dogs and pass around the bottle of single malt Highland Scotch. Luck, dude. You remember that one, Dave Potter? How many times have we seen a group of kids discover to their excessive delight that they've all read and loved the same Goosebumps book or the same Harry Potter books? A million times we've seen that. Well, if you're exposed to kids at all. The first thing they do is compare and rank the scariest parts. Oh, the scariest part for me was we still do that now. Dave and I will do that talking about movies. Rainey and I will do that talking about, did you see the part with yeah. No, that one's not scary. This one's scarier. Listen, we do that. And so we all compare. They rank the scariest parts, kids do, and they laugh at how they jumped out of their bed when the cat came for a pat on the head, or stayed up all night staring at the half open closet. I couldn't sleep with the closet open, and I couldn't get up because the closet was open, and I couldn't get up to close the closet because the closet was open and there was something under the bed. Yes, Rainey.
Our kids will not sleep with the mirror turned towards them.
Oh, yeah.
I started that.
The kids won't sleep with a mirror facing the room. They've got like those cheap, $5 mirrors you get at Walmart, tall, skinny things that you mount on the backside of a door. Well, they got it leaning up against the wall. And whenever I walk in there to get the kids up for school, it's always turned around. Well, they had mom start turning the mirrors around. They don't like to sleep with the mirrors. And really, I've heard experts say you shouldn't have mirrors in your bedroom anyway, that they can be gateways. How's that for a scary story? We'll talk about that one of these nights, about mirrors, scrying, mirrors as gateways to the unknown, to the other realm. And they are, trust me. I ain't making that up, by the way. We'll talk about that one of these nights. So now if you have a mirror in your bedroom, you'll be staring at it all night. Or you'll have to turn it around. So like vets who've shared a battle, kids and people who read these books or see these things or experience these things, they're brought together in something far more essential and primordial than a mere soccer game or a surprise math test. Looking back myself, I can't recall having more fun in a movie theater or at home with illicit late-night cable TV than when I was watching a scary movie with my friends. I told you, when I was a kid, it was pre-cable days. I'm talking late 60s, early 70s, when we had our paper routes and we'd scare ourselves to death. We'd have to walk every night at 3 a.m. over to the paper shack to get our papers. But I'm talking weekend papers, the Sunday paper. But Saturday night, we'd always stay up and watch the Scary Movie Fest at midnight every week. Creature Feature and Horror Incorporated. That's how it came on. No, it was a little more scary than that even. But we'd scare ourselves to death with old black and white B-rated movies of all things. Really good special effects of any kind. And so those are the times we had fun. And it was the shared experience of sitting up all night with my friends and then going to do our paper routes in the dark. We couldn't wait till dawn hit at about 5 a.m. So the screams, the adrenaline-induced laughter that always follow are some of the best and least fraught times in childhood. And going through it together means we aren't alone anymore. Not really. It's always good to have somebody around when you're watching a scary show, huh? So Abraham Lincoln had a mirror gateway as He was looking in the mirror. He saw the image of two images, one of himself and a sickly older image. I've heard that story, Matthew Sainsbury. So, mirror meditation, says Michelle Canham-Free. Yeah, you can have mirror meditation. Mirrors can be gateways, too. So, number 6. I think we can get through number 6 tonight yet. And we'll hit the other 4 tomorrow. Number 6, and reason that horror is good for kids. Horror stories and scary stories are good for them. Hidden inside horror are the facts of life. Growing up is scary and painful and violent. Your body's doing weird things to you, and you might, to your own great horror, become something beastly and terrible on the other side. The Wolfman. Lon Chaney's The Wolfman. Lon Chaney Jr. taught us this. Being weird can be lonely. Your parents never understand you, and the world is sometimes incomprehensible, just as Frankenstein's monster showed us. Sex and desire is creepy and intimate and dangerous and potentially threatening ways. So said Dracula. Now, we don't think that anymore as adults, but as kids we did. Right, Rainey? Yep, she says.
What I just agreed to.
What's that?
What I just agreed to.
What do you disagree with?
No, I said, what did I just agree with?
Oh. That sex is sometimes creepy and intimate and dangerous and potentially threatening ways when you're a kid. So whether it's the Hunger Games is a clear-cut metaphor for this whole Darwinian landscape of high school, or learning to turn and face a scary part of ourselves or the dangers of the past via any of the zillions of ghost stories around, horror can serve as a thinly veiled reflection of ourselves in a way almost impossible to imagine in other forms. Horror can do this because, like sci-fi and fantasy, it has inherent within a cloak of genre tropes that beg to be stripped off of us. Its treasures, strip these things off of me. Its treasures are never buried so deep that you can't find them with some mild digging. It's a gift to us, made better by having to root around for it. And like all deep knowledge, we have to earn its boons rather than receive them guppy mouth like babies on a bottle. Got to earn this stuff. There's so much more to this point, too, and we're starting to get to the place where we've got to wrap it for tonight. But fear is not the best thing in the world, of course, but it's not going anywhere, and we're likely forced to meet it in some capacity, great or small, each and every day. There's no way around it. Denying this fact only provides more fertile ground for fear to take root. Worse yet, denying it robs us of our agency to meet and overcome it. And the more we ignore scary things, the bigger and scarier those things become. And one of the great truths from Frank Herbert's perpetually important Dune series of books is the Bene Gesserit's litany against fear. And this is one of the last things we'll be able to get out here tonight. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And in so many geeky ways, this kind of sums up the most important and primary element of fear. Not to pretend that it doesn't exist, or whether it should or not, but to meet it, to hug it, and let it go so we may be better prepared for whatever else comes next. Crafting horror narratives for kids kind of does this, and we'll get into that more tomorrow. So we don't have much time left tonight. And I've got to say, it's like, again, I hail to the tarot. When I pull the card, the devil card, people are like, oh my God, the devil card. I go, no, the devil card just simply means that you are obsessed or oppressed by your own personal demons, and that, like the Old Testament or the Bible says, if you face the devil, he will flee. It's that kind of thinking. If you face the devil, he's going to flee from you. And so horror books and stories and the things that we teach our kids, these are the things that help us teach our kids that they can face some of these things. All right. We got a late start tonight. And we got to end so early. But I'm going to encourage you, if you're still here, we'll talk about this a little bit more. We won't go further into the points because we're going to save those for tomorrow night. But we'll talk about this some more. You know, I took off my glasses. Now I can't see the clock. Yeah, we got to start getting out of here in just a few seconds. So thank you for being here. We're going to take a 23-hour break, and we'll be right back. So you guys hang on to your butts, sit tight. We'll be back. Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
All right, folks, we are still here, but we're off radio. So in a few seconds here, I'm going to have to cut us down to size and see what the heck was that? This whole show didn't record. Oh, that was weird. So, but that's just the way it is. See, it was that kind of night. So the whole thing did not record tonight. All right, let me get us disconnected. Boom, we are disconnected from the network. I'm going to unplug my headset. There we go. Show's over, but we're going to stick around for a little bit if you want to, guys. So hang out for a second. I have to go to the bathroom because I didn't get to go before the show. So hang tight. Be right back. All right, gang, I'm here. I'm back. Put on my glasses so I can see what the heck you're all saying over there. Now, that was weird, too, because it's the way the night went. I went to record the audio for this show. Wait, there was singing, and it was very low into the white noise. Nope. Okay. It was probably very tough for some of you to hear. And, that was last week's show. That was the... Stop. So I'm not sure where that even went. That was kind of crazy. I hit the record button, gone. Not even there. So that was crazy. Let me put that away. Don't save. All right. Well, too bad for me. So thank you, Dave Potter. So as above, so below, says Michelle Canham-Free, the credo of the witch. Let's see. I think when I first saw Scotty, he was in St. Paul, Minnesota, says Matthew Sainsbury. That was a while back. We have lived we didn't go back to Minnesota at all, did we? After the ranch? Yeah, so it would have been in St. Paul. Would have been our last year in St. Paul was 2007. So part of 2008. And then we moved out to Wisconsin to the ranch. And we've been out here ever since. So let's see. David Castle, good to see you. Thank you for the favor. Is it a favor I have to repay? Sean Stroik, good to see you again. Paige, good to see you. Everybody can stick around. We'll stick around for a little bit here. Not very long tonight, but we'll stick around. And just so you all know, we're working on getting the Sword in the Clay to press. I just had Ryan do the final look over for it. He's looking at the technical stuff to make sure it all works. And it's working. And so it gets uploaded to the printers. And hopefully a few weeks, and we'll see that book, that hardcover book, in our hands. And Arnold Palmer's are supposed to be virgin. He was an alky. Well, there you go. How's that for out of context? I don't know where that came from.
Makes me want to drink.
Makes me want to drink, said Rainey. You can come over and impress us with your beautifiableness anytime you want here. What?
I'm good for now.
It's not for you. It's for us.
I'm not feeling good. My head kind of hurt.
Oh. You had a long few days in a row. I can imagine you don't feel very good. I'm surprised you're even up. So...
My head hurts. I don't want to get up anymore.
Her head hurts and she does not want to get up. When you get up, swing by. So good when it's in press. I'll buy it and take it when I visit Dad. There you go. Matthew Finn, hello and good evening, David. Where you been, Master Finn? Haven't seen you. It feels like forever for some reason. So not that, this show is the end all and be all of everything. Just curious. You can turn on your overhead lights now if you need them, Rainey. So,
Make it up.
do you need them on? I can turn them on for you. All right. So, this favor thing, I'll be honest, I don't use the word very much. I did at one point, and there was somebody who introduced me to using that word that ended up being a real putz to me. And I associated the word with the person since then. I'm smarter than that. I know the word doesn't represent this person, but it's not something that the person who kind of taught me that was a great word to use. And then we're all humans. We all fall out of step. I get that. But this person fell out of step, and this person deliberately did some things that were uncalled for. And that person soured the word for me. So you don't see me using that much at all. It's not something I enjoy. So not for you guys. You guys can use it all you want. I just see that. That's why you never hear me talk about it that much. And I'm not a grudge holder, and I'm not anything like that. The only time I would do you ever hold a grudge with anybody? The only time I would hold a grudge with somebody or be unforgiving or not want to meet that other person halfway, or I'll give them the mile. If they take the mile, I'll give them, or what's the old saying? You give me an inch, I'll give you a mile. And so I like being that way. But the only kind of people I don't like being that way with are people who don't care to be conciliatory. They don't care to want to come and meet you halfway or even part way. They have no desire to have you forgive them for what they did. They have no desire to suck up a little bit and say, hey, I did wrong. those are the people that, and they want to hang on to their stuff. Those are the people I don't have any time for. If I hold a grudge against anybody, it's usually because that person has turned down so many olive branches from me that I got no more fucks to give. In other words, like that guy who sings that on the ukulele. I've got no more fucks to give. Ding 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 ding. Yeah, that's how I get with some people, and I'm not genuinely out the chutes. Do I act that way toward anybody? Unless somebody has done something really bad or stupid or grievous. But then when they come back to me, I tend to go right back and go, let's move on. I'm a move on kind of person. I don't like having enemies. I don't like having bad blood with people at all. And I don't go out of my way to seek it. Now, have I been burned doing that before? Sure. I'd rather be burned doing good than be burned having somebody do something shitty to me. So, if I'm going to get burned. So, I'd rather be a decent person along the way. And that's my take on that. You can only reach out so many times. That man on the ukulele, that's right. And yeah, and that's it. There's a prime example, but because it's so easy, it's my ex-wife. I gave her the olive branch more times than she probably deserved. But then I look at myself and I say, how many times have I been in need of the olive branch? I generally don't turn down olive branches when they're extended to me, though. That's my way of doing things. But my ex-wife was somebody who, it didn't matter how many olive branches you gave. She kept doing shitty things to me and my family. And finally, there was a point where I said to my daughters, who were young adults, and my son was still having to go back and forth between his mom and me, I said, I have no more fucks to give for this person. And I will not. It's that simple. And maybe I've taught that to my son, because my son doesn't either. And which is,
your son got burnt out on that person too.
He did get burnt out on that person.
And I think that's his own learning.
Oh yeah, that's his own learning. I'm sure if I had really pushed with him, hey, make things right with him, he probably would have gone that path.
Think so.
But because he's called me at times, he's asked me, should I talk to mom? She sent me this letter, and I said, son, that's up to you. I said, but you've been burned by this person so many times in your life. You're going to have to make that decision. Matt Finn says your ex didn't respect you because she took your kindness for weakness. It's a fine like to walk for the nice. It's a fine line to walk for the nice guys. That's the truth. That's the truth. And it's sad to say, when you're in those situations, it's not usually the nice or the decent person that teaches the bad person anything. But the bad person can finally wear out the decent person, where the decent person says, I got no more fucks to give. And it's that simple. Now, if she was in crisis or something, I'm sure if I had the wherewithal, I would help her out of crisis. But it wouldn't mean much anything deeper than I'm here because you're three of my kids' mom, and I'll help you out. And I can't turn down I can go, on this condition, I'll help a person. On this condition, I won't. I'm not talking financial handout or something. I'm talking about if they're in crisis and they need you. I know my ex-wife, for all the problems she would cause, every time she fell into crisis, where did she come? Rainey? Where did she come? To me. Right answer.
And it drove me insane.
It drove Rainey insane. And not what I acted like, but the fact that she would come begging for help. Before I knew Rainey, a year or two before I knew Rainey, there was one time where I'm at home with Sam, Abby and Bryn are at school. He's 4 years old. Dave, this was that Dave Potter remembers. It was that upstairs duplex I lived in St. Paul, just before I moved to Bloomington and the big townhome in Bloomington. And I was upstairs and I was working away, and Sam is on the sofa looking out the front windows. We had these windows all along the front. Old house. Think of an old house, old architecture, and all these windows in the front of the front room. And he says, Dad, Mom's outside. And I said, no, she's not. It was like a Tuesday afternoon, Monday afternoon. Yeah, she is. Come and look. And so I came over to the window, and there, down, now we were in the upstairs duplex, looking down on the front sidewalk in front of our house is my ex-wife, the mother to my first 3 children. She's standing there she was blonde and thin, and she had these butt cheek cut off blue jean shorts on and cowboy boots and a plaid Wrangler type snap top tied in a knot with the whole midriff showing. And I think she had even a straw cowboy hat on or something. There was a theme going on there. And she stood there and she had kind of her finger in her mouth. She says, can I come up? And I looked at my son. I said, should we let her in? He goes, yeah, let her in. And I went downstairs to let her in. And my neighbor was out raking his lawn. And he kind of he sees me opening the door. And I go, hi, yeah, you can come in. He heard the whole exchange. And he's raking. He looks over him. He's like, dude, I don't have hot little blondes coming to my front door and asking me to calling up in the middle of the afternoon. I said, ex-wife, long story, dude. And we left it at that. And he goes, gotcha. But I always extended, and it ended up, she got fired from her job at an elementary school for biting a kid's finger. She bit a kid's finger because a kid was poking at her, and she bit his finger. I'm like, are you serious? You bit his finger? But
she bit the kid because the kid bit her.
No, the kid did not bite her. The kid was poking at her, she said.
That's what the girls always said.
That might have been what she told the girls. It's not what she told me the day it happened. But anyway, so what did I do? She was embarrassed. She didn't want to go home to her house by the school.
She wasn't embarrassed if she was wearing that to the school.
And she wasn't wearing that to the school. She did not wear that to school. She wouldn't. God, Rainey, she wore that to my house to entice me to let her in. And I can't think of any other reason she was dressed that way. But I let her have my bed. She stayed at my house for like 4 days. I let her have my bed. I slept on the sofa. The girls came home from school. Nothing happened between us, if your mind's going there. Not that time. Nothing ever happened between us after that. She tried, though. She tried.
She wrote a letter to try to get you back right before we got married.
Yeah, she didn't know, and she didn't know we were getting married either. She didn't know we were married for a good 3 months. I didn't communicate that stuff. It was none of her business what I did with my life. Not right off, we didn't. Because I wanted to do something bigger, and we never did. So we just went ahead and... Because we got married on the back deck. Back patio. With a handful of people, and we just didn't announce it right away. And not for a couple of months anyway. And I don't know what my reasoning was on that. I didn't want her to know. Because I didn't care to have her know. It wasn't for any hidden reason or nefarious what's the motive, ulterior motive of any kind. So I just wanted to be smart about it. Hey, Matt Finn, you're going? Good night, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, your life stories are boring. You quit talking about the blonde and the booty shorts.
Well, Rainey said my life stories are boring when I talk about blondes and booty shorts.
Quit talking about the blonde and the booty shorts.
Oh, and I quit talking about the blonde and the booty shorts. I tell my life stories because that's where I learn lessons.
You learn lessons?
Yep, I do.
can't remember that I'm gluten-free and what I can and can't eat.
That's a list of
When are you
things,
gonna
though.
learn that lesson?
I've learned that you're gluten-free. I don't always think about it when I'm cooking, though. I keep trying, though. So there's certain things I forget.
Yes, I stayed up late too.
So anyway,
I went to bed, but I didn't sleep.
what do you think? Should I cut this short now? Because I'm just telling life stories. So,
What?
huh? Huh? So what do y'all got going? We all have some masochist in us. It's all good. This is Iowa X. That's true. So, what all we got going out there? Anfin, yes, it's the game we play. Has been divided and conquered since civilization start. Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yeah, and they were rude this time. I asked if I could get a gluten-free pizza. No, they should have said that before you got your stuff. And if they didn't do that, then you don't get any. And I'm like, okay.
Where was that? At the place?
Yes.
So you had to starve?
I had to start, and I starved
Nice.
too, because I worked my butt off all freaking day. And I came
So,
in Winter Rowan's games, and then
hey, Isby369. I didn't see you there.
and then we left again.
How you doing? Nice to have you in here.
Eat anything else. So,
Are you still there? Good night, Matt Finn, Isby says.
right? Well, I
Barbie D, good to see you. I don't think I saw you
thought
earlier.
about doing Chipotle, and then it was like, no.
And probably other people I missed in here because it was going at it hard and heavy during the show.
Yeah, well, I had brought some treats with, and
So
you could pick out a bag of chips, and yeah.
I don't see anything else I should be talking about unless you guys want to bring something up. It's a half hour into the captain's cabin. And so, dude, Iowa X, if you have a really big house, you could have many exes live with you. You could have many exes live with you. You could, but how many really want to do that? So, David Castle says they're either lessons, experiences, but don't get stuck and make them a distraction. Some stay enslaved to the distractions, and the quicksand takes them away. Ain't that the truth? That's where I talk about things that happen in our past. You don't camp there. You visit now and then to reminisce or to share the lesson learned, but you don't dwell there. It's no longer at your feet. So 4 a.m., 4 a.m., 4 a.m., 4 a.m., says Dave Potter. Right. I could do that with you on here. We'll do that again someday. That was kind of fun. If anybody here didn't like that on Friday, let me know. There was a bunch of you stuck around. We had at least 15 people live 2 hours into that nothing of a nothing after show. We were just talking, Dave and I. Ruben Fast Source really tells you some good info on Native American history. He certainly does, Matthew Sainsbury. He does indeed. And I'm here in deep groceries as I listen, knee deep in groceries. Unloading groceries at home, or are you shopping right now, Michelle? Can I'm free? Oh, good. I'm glad you like that, Barbie D. Friday night was fun. That's what Dave and I do anyway, whenever we get a chance to hang out and just talk. That's the kind of conversation Dave and I would have when we were painting murals half the night. Have conversations like that.
What are you talking to me over there?
Morgan Snow says,
I will. Hold on.
sometimes I truly believe I have sucker written on my forehead.
Hold on.
Uh-oh, what happened? Or are you talking about life in general? I'm glad you had fun, Dave. Exactly, Scotty Roberts. That's why your head and feet face forward and not backward. Just learn and keep going. I think that's etiology at its best. Daddy, why does our face forward and so do our feet? Well, son, that's because the great beaver, when she fell out of the sky and landed on us, we had to learn to move forward all the time so we wouldn't get hit again. And by her falling on us, it turned our feet forward. And so there you go. It's great mythology. Good stuff. Michelle Cannon, it's easy for me to say. Unloading. Shopping is more enjoyable. I like deals. There you go. Yeah. Shopping. You know, guys we like to shop when we know what we're getting. I don't like to shop and just meander. It's like, where are we going now? Didn't we already get the pants you needed to get? Why are we going to the shoe section? You didn't say we were going to stop and get shoes. You said pants. Oh, there's some nice shoes on sale on the end rack. I get it. So, life in general and specific events, says Morgan Snow. I get it. Matthew Sainsbury says, you have an interesting book called The Exodus Reality. I must check it out sometime as Passover is on the way. I think it was a fun book. We had a good time. Lots of pictures in that one. There's 100 pictures or more in that book. A bunch of them are color. So even if you don't like to read, you can look at the pictures. Men loathe the mall. Frankly, I don't mind the mall, but I mind the mall when I don't know why I'm going there. Only time I can handle going to the mall is if I just got paid a shitload of money from a client. And I say to Rainey, get your mall shoes on. We're going to the Mall of America. And we're going to go look around and pick up some things we'd like to have. You know, that's when you get in a sizable check. So, so there we are. Thank you, Matthew Sainsbury. For those of you who want to pick up The Sword in the Clay, just go to, guess what? theswordintheclay.com. You can pick up your book. Those are going to press. They should be back, hopefully within about 4 weeks. And we'll have those. Might take a little longer. We don't know. I'm also going to put some of them up on Amazon so we can have some print on demand. Because I wanted to get some so I had some for promotional use. Didn't have to wait 4 to 6 weeks to get them in my hand. So there might be some made available through that. But I want to get the ones published through the printer. They might look just the same. I don't know. I like the flea markets. Isby and the $1.25 store. I like flea markets. I love going to, what Rainey and I like doing now that spring is just about here. Garage sailing, man. Garage sailing. I like going garage sailing. I like seeing what other people's junk they're selling. Sometimes you find some cool stuff. And I like the thrift stores, and I like the you just mentioned it, the not thrift store, oh, good grief, that's where my brain is right now, not working very well. Flea market. Jeez. Come here, Ellie.
What?
Why don't you say hi? How come you're up so late?
Hi.
It's 10:24.
So?
How come you're not in bed? Because why?
Because
You have candy on your neck.
mine.
She's got a candy necklace. Remember those? Remember when you'd wear those and you thought they were cool because you could eat them later, and then you started sweating or you sucked on them like that and they got sticky around your neck? It's all sticky. Then dirt sticks in it. Dog poop.
Hey.
I'm just saying, whatever you roll in. So, They're selling $4.20 at the local FM for 35 a gallon. All right. I like estate sales too, Dave Potter. Don't judge us, says Roger Rabbit, but we might enjoy cruising the rich neighborhoods on trash days. We furnished a whole apartment once doing that. Oh, you know what they had? Dave, do you remember these? Because you're from around here. City of Bloomington, Minnesota, where I used to live when I met Rainey. They would it had to be spring. They would have, I don't remember what they called it, but you could take all of your stuff that you wanted to get rid of, from furniture to whatever, and put it out on the street corner or the curb. And their big city trucks would come and haul it away, but you could leave it out for 3 or 4 days before the city trucks would do it. And people would take wagons and not wagons, trailers and big trucks. They'd drive around from yard to yard looking at people's junk and collecting it up. That's some really cool stuff. Dave, I don't know if you remember it, but out at the ranch house, I had that huge bookshelf that filled the whole wall, built out of hardwood. And that I picked up off a trash pile. We had chairs and tables and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty darn cool. $1 million homes garage sales were my thing, yeah. But those were also the ones where you'd go and you want $17 for this shirt at a garage sale? I don't think so. Sometimes you could get good deals, but usually you go to the big rich neighborhoods, and they were all like, yes, we paid $35,000 for that sofa. We're going to let it go at the garage sale for $7,000. It's like, sorry, I don't go to garage sales with $7,000 in my pocket. So I've run into that too many times. So, Corpsey Diem says, Michelle, can 'em free. Roger says, I've also been able to sell a lot of trash. Finds on eBay. Unique little items. Trash it. Yeah, hell yeah. Rainey gets rid of a lot of the stuff on the Facebook marketplaces, local marketplaces. She ran away now, Barbie D. So I think she was going for what hair I had left with the shark. So I like this thing. This thing is great. It's a rubber shark. Hello, bite. You can't do the right. He's got to go bite. So we would do puppet stuff with this, and they got to have the Australian accent ever since Finding Nemo. So there you go, shark. Well, that sits on my desk almost all the time. And I like it. Let's see. Hi, David Bosto. What does Bosto mean again? Somebody tell me. Be of strategic, tactical, organizational skills? I don't know. I got a $500 women's Gucci belt from a lady that didn't know what it was. There you go. I got for a dime at the thrift barn. We have a big barn that everybody brings their thrift stuff to, and it gets laid out nicely. I got for a dime in the book section. I got I don't remember what year, early 1900s edition. It wasn't the first edition. It was a second edition of The Robe, that old story, The Robe. And found out for a dime that at the time it was worth $238. And I got it for a dime at the thrift store. There was nothing wrong with it except somebody had somewhere along the last 100 years had set a cup of tea or a cup of coffee on it, and there was one ring on the backside. Other than that, it was almost perfect cloth for a 100-year-old book. So, be of service to others. There you go, Morgan Snow. Bosto. There it is. Thank you, Lucky Smith. So, hi, Lucky Smith. Be of good service to others. No, there's no G in there, though. Oh, be of service to others. Got it. Cool. What else we got? My wife likes to haggle, says Lucky Smith. I don't. It gives me anxiety. Me too. I go, how much is this? How much is this brush? And they'll go, $10. I go, here. My wife's like, you didn't haggle for that. I'm like, they wanted $10 for it. Well, they're asking for 10 because they want to come out with 2. So, well, I didn't know that. I thought the price was $10. I'm not a haggler. I don't like it. Oh, I learned it in Egypt, though. I had some merchants would get kind of mad at me, but I think that was their shtick, too. I had street merchants trying to sell me, guys out in the street in the desert. And by street, I mean a dirt road that comes up to a temple. And they're trying to sell you artifacts that are fake. And I go, $50 American. I go, $50? I said, no. I can buy one for $25 at the museum store. I said, I want to support you local artisans, but don't tell me $50. Okay, Joe. I give it to you for $30 American. No. I said, how about $7 American? Oh, 7? And then they turn around and they're all in a huff, but they come back. Okay, 15. And on it goes. So, and I'd say la shukran, which is no thank you. No thank you. I'm not going to spend $15 on that. But there were some people that I gave them $100 for stuff that was worth 10 because you could tell they were in need. So, Bosto, live by that sentiment. That's right. Be of service to others. So, anybody out there want to rub my back? Be of service to my back. My wife's a masseuse, but a massage therapist. She's out of the room. Do I get a massage ever? No. So I told her, okay, you can just do it for the love of putting your hands on my body. And I got the look. I'm like, what? I didn't even have to ask 15 years ago. So she's a massager. So and she charges $120 an hour for her massages. I even told her once I'd pay her. She wouldn't give me a massage. No, I know how your massages end, she says. I said, so do I. I said, look, I just want a massage. I'm in pain. I want a massage. So keep looking up. Lots of activity in the sky the last 12 days, says David Castle. UFO here, 7 out of the last 12 days. Wow. And David Castle, did I ask you this once before? Aren't you over in the Newcastle area? Or was that David from Newcastle? Not David Castle. I can't remember. Let's see. I was thinking they've gotten a timeshare. There it is. Pay her rate. I do, IOX. I do. I have her double her rate sometimes. So I'm not a cheapskate. I don't even haggle with her. So what else we got? UK sure has the UFOs. Oh, excellent, Dave. Come over and walk on my back on Friday. No, Rainey actually got me a massage for Christmas, but not with her. So it's someplace over in New Richmond. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to go redeem that." She goes, "Oh, well, you have to wait till I pay for it." I said, "Oh, you haven't paid for it yet?" She said, "No, not yet." So I got to wait till she pays for it. And
Hey, I told you could schedule a massage whenever you wanted. I said you couldn't use it with her.
I know. And I just said, I got to wait till you pay for it. I got to let you know.
I know, and you haven't let me know, so I can't pay for it.
Well, you could do one for me for free.
No.
I wouldn't make you pay for it.
Okay, that massage was $70. Mine is $120. So what's
I'll
the
pay you
difference?
$120.
That's another. I mean, $70 to do a massage.
There she is. That's okay. I wasn't making bad fun of you.
Whatever you were.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
No, I wasn't. Was
Yeah,
I?
He was, wasn't he?
No, I wasn't. Was I?
Pretty sure.
So, no, I was making love on you.
Gross.
Yeah.
Why do you have to be so nasty?
That was meant to be that was a good saying. I was saying it like I was somebody who doesn't speak English for a first language. I was making love on you.
Gross. That's even more disgusting. I don't know how you guys put up with him.
Same way you do. They used to like me a long time ago, and now they stick with me.
now they're just here because
Now they're just here because they don't want to go find someone else.
Because you don't like change.
There it is.
Fuck, he's telling the same story again. I've heard this one 10 times.
Send all the volleyball pictures. Of
Don't know
my
what the
massage.
perks are yet. I call it Scotty Roberts. There it is.
I
So
don't know how to
$30 for a
knife
foot
on
massage from
shoulder.
an old Chinese lady.
What?
With every day. See, now
Oh,
I'd pay
yeah.
for that. For an old Chinese lady. You put your foot up here.
Right?
How you eat your rice while I rub your feet. Have some tea.
That's really racist, isn't it?
Oh, I don't care. I'm not racist.
I thought we weren't allowed to talk in Chinese voices.
Aren't we?
No, I don't know. Everything's racist if you're white.
Is talking in Chinese voice racist if I'm white?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably talking in white voice is racist if I'm white. Well, you're talking in Norwegian American instead of German American. Excuse me. She can make you scream in pain if you're bad. I'll bet. With the feet.
Oh,
Michelle
she
Cannon
can?
Free says hi.
I would put up with that foot massage, man.
Hell yeah. I'll do you a foot
Where's
massage.
this little lady at? We're coming to find her.
Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa X. Is it in Iowa?
Might be. So I just have to catch Rainey on the right days nowadays.
And hardly ever are they right, because my shoulder, I am in so freaking much
Yeah,
pain. It's not
she
even
is.
funny. So when I have to do a massage, it's got to be worth it.
And I can't do anything for her shoulder. I just not any work I can do. It's like continued physical therapy.
It's not
For
even
her.
physical therapy. I need to be able to afford to see somebody who can work on my shoulder, and then I probably need
Yeah.
surgery, but I don't want to get surgery.
Well, I say we try to find you a specialist to work on your shoulder.
They aren't free, so I don't think we can.
But then you can't. What, they don't have specialists on our insurance?
Let's not do that. No,
Do what?
my skin's irritated. I'm still overtired over.
Jesus.
You keep rubbing it. Keep rubbing them. Hold on.
I got my hand on her back and I'm moving my thumb.
My skin is highly sensitive.
Oh yeah, it is. So is mine.
Good night, Matthew.
Good night, Matthew. So
No, all the people that our insurance cover
yeah.
don't know how to help my shoulder. So I need to find like a massage therapist, and they're expensive. And
Don't they have specialists through
surgeon.
our hospital and stuff?
yeah, I
that-
need to go see the surgeon, and I tell you what the surgeon's gonna say, and that'll be you need surgery. Because what do surgeons do?
Well,
Surgery.
yeah.
Duh.
There.
I don't know why I'm sitting here. I should go
Turn
to
it
bed.
around that way.
These children are still up and it's 10:40.
I know, and they got school tomorrow. Hey, don't come out and brag about it. It's bedtime.
She's
Come here.
not bragging about
Give me a
it.
hug.
She's just dancing.
Is she coming out dancing to show it off? That hey, look, I'm still up.
She was just dancing to dance.
Oh.
Probably because she just ate a box of milk ducks.
Oh yeah, that's always
What?
good at 10:30 at night.
Can you put this together, please?
It's bedtime, child. All we need to go with your bedtime habits is a trailer in the trailer park. So
Barbara D says goodnight, Ellery.
Barbie D says goodnight, Ellery.
Night.
Who's your favorite bedtime cuddle person?
Me.
No.
Lucy.
No.
Mommy.
You and Lucy.
Yep.
You and Lucy.
Here, I fixed it.
Yay. Now I can put this on Lucy.
No, don't put that on Lucy.
Do that.
Oh my God.
There you go. I can go put her to bed. You can take over the radio show and
No,
I'll put her
I'm
to bed.
tired. I want to go to bed. I really, when you think about it,
You've only gotten like 10 hours of sleep in the
I
last
think
3 days.
Friday night I got 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Saturday night I got 4 hours of sleep.
Yuck.
Friday, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:37. I got 3.5 hours of sleep.
Yep. When
I know.
Rainey has a light schedule and she gets sleep, you can tell on this show when she's had sleep and a lighter schedule. When she gets busy and hasn't had a lot of sleep, you can tell on this show. So
And if you fuck with my sleep,
I need you.
whether I've
Oh,
slept
yeah.
or not have had sleep or had a lot of sleep, you are in a lot of trouble. And I
ain't
will
that the
probably murder
truth?
you.
Are you directing that at me?
I'm directing that at anybody who messes with my sleep.
Oh yeah.
Not
Don't mess with
that.
their sleep.
Not that way.
What? How do you want this on there?
I need you to take this apart.
Sometimes
No,
when
this
she's
has-
worn out,
Yeah.
when she's had a
No,
busy
don't
week or
think-
something,
Hey!
and she'll go take a nap in the afternoon, and the kids will come in and they'll go, "Mom!" And I go, "Shh! If you wake your mother, you will die. So do not wake your mother."
And then you usually hear me yell out going, I'm awake.
Yep. And then she goes, "I'm already awake. I heard him come in."
I,
So it's like,
you walk
damn it,
across
children.
the kitchen floor and it's right above the bedroom. So it's boom, boom,
Yep.
boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
You walk down the stairs are on the wall next to the bed. So boom, 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 boom.
There it is. Okay. Very frustrating with the freezing tonight. Is it going to freeze tonight now again? Do you have such a beautiful family, Scotty Roberts? I think the song "Lucky Man." I am a lucky man.
No, you're not.
I am. There, the little child said it best. No, you're not. Nuh-uh. I'm here.
Oh my God. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody.
Good night, you.
Good night, Ellie.
Poo poo.
Good night, Ken.
Good night. I'll see you later.
Good night, everybody.
No kisses.
Oh, too late. Gosh, what are we going to do now?
I wiped Dad's kiss on your cheek.
Smother. Use cloth next time.
I pinch your
Chloroform.
nose.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Ew, Dad kisses.
Yeah, dad kisses. Here, one more. Well, she's not looking. Good night. See you in a while. All right, guys. I'm not going to make it much longer here. So it's going to be short anyway. So, oh, I'm ready for spring. Uncle Dave says, "Good night, Ellie Belly." Oh, the picture keeps freezing. I don't know what that is. There's a buffering problem tonight, I guess, huh?
Wait, you're gonna kiss me. No more kisses.
Good night. Dumb kids.
Yeah, dumb kids.
What'd you go have so many kids for?
I don't know. I used to like
How'd that happen?
the thing that men and women did, and now I don't.
Yeah, It turned her off of sex. Well, that's why I got fixed.
I'm pretty sure if we just think about sex, will get me pregnant.
Yeah. No. So. Oh. Thank you. And you don't want me to think about sex.
What's wrong?
You're so. Nothing's wrong. Why?
Getting ready for bed.
I see that. Hang on, folks. I'll be back.
I'm gonna say, can I see it in the mirror?
No,
Reflection
no,
of
they
the
can't
windows?
see anything. No.
Can I?
Good night.
Can I leave my phone over there?
I don't know.
I left my water somewhere.
Folks, you can tell we're not really doing a radio show. This is just the captain's cabin. So,
It's watching my
no, I don't see it.
everywhere. What the hell did they do with my phone and my water?
I don't know. Come over here and let's see if I can find it. It's the hop, skip, and jump. Guys, you just have no idea.
Yeah.
Come here. You can say goodnight now.
Good night.
Now that you have clothes back
Make sure my
on.
crotch hole is covered.
Yeah. She is. All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Hmm.
Phone's not over. What the hell?
I don't know.
My phone.
I don't know.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, I gotta walk upstairs to get my water.
Oh, folks. Sorry to be so transparent. So, at 52, I try not to think about sex, says Isby. At 61, I try to shut it off. So, you just saw the typo, like the end of Taxi. Good night, Mr. Walters. All right, guys. Marked safe. That's right, Michelle Cannon Free. Marked safe. So my children are making sure of that. Well, I believe it's time for me to fly. All part of it, says Isby. I love the family. Night, Scotty. Night, Barbie D. Oh, it's 62. I thought you said 52, Isby. So. Anyway, that's all I got. This is the non-show portion of the show. So sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's tedious. Sometimes we quit early. Sometimes we go late.
My button.
Oh, you can turn that one on if you want. I like the new floodlights, by the way. So over there especially, look at that.
I know.
You can't see it, folks.
See
I'd have
my
to
space.
turn my computer all the way around, which I can't do.
Makes me want to sing songs.
We'll sing a song then.
No. People are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I love you.
I love you.
All right, folks.
He loves you too.
I love you, but in a different way. Each one of you will always be my favorite.
My favorite Matthew. You're my favorite Barbara T.
Yeah, my favorite Michelle Cannon Free. My favorite Barbie D. My favorite David Castle and Isby. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, Isby. Isby always enjoys my stories. So there.
Whatever. Isby, you're not my
There.
favorite.
Huh?
I said, Isby's now not my favorite.
She said you're now not her favorite, Isby. You didn't hear that. All right, everybody. Everybody, you have a good night. I'm going to get out of here. And you live long and prosper, as I always say. And where's my off button? It's right here. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Back here at 9 p.m.
Nice.
Central Standard Time. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to go take a look at the book and order a book, at least take a look at the site, see what all is over there. TheSwordInTheClay.com. TheSwordInTheClay.com. Stop. She's over there. She didn't want to be up anymore, but she's over there going, with everything I say.
I'm a peanut gallery.
I'll come and show you.
No, you will not.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah, I will. Good night, folks. I'm out of here. See ya. Love y'all.